It is April 13th, 1919, in the city of Amritsar. This is the entrance to Jallianwala Bagh. Thousands of men, women, and children are pouring through this passage to celebrate a local spring festival and to gather for a peaceful protest. The geography of the bog makes it a natural cage. It is a walled garden enclosed by tall buildings, with only this single narrow alleyway serving as the primary exit. That physical choke point was the final manifestation of a larger political trap that had been closing around the Indian public for years. During the First World War, over 1 million Indian soldiers fought for the British Empire. They did so with a specific political expectation that their service would be rewarded with greater autonomy for their own country. Instead, the British offered the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. These were minor administrative changes that failed to provide the self-governance the Indian public had been promised. To suppress the resulting anger, the colonial government enacted the Rowlatt Act of 1919. The act allowed the government to imprison citizens without a trial, eliminating the legal right to appeal. The law was blunt: no dalil, no vakil, no appeal, no right to an argument, and no right to a lawyer. For the average citizen, this meant they were now legally cornered, subject to indefinite imprisonment at the whim of the state. In response to these laws, Mahatma Gandhi launched the Rowlatt Satyagraha, a nationwide movement of nonviolent resistance and strikes. As the protest gained momentum, the British administration retaliated by targeting the movement's local organizers. In Amritsar, the authorities abruptly arrested two prominent nationalist leaders, Dr. Saifuddin Kitchlew and Dr. Satyapal. These arrests acted as a spark, driving thousands of unarmed civilians into the walled space of Jallianwala Bagh to protest the detention of their leaders. By the afternoon of April 13th, the bog is packed with people, many of whom are unaware that public gatherings have been banned. General Dyer arrives on the scene with a unit of 50 soldiers, tasked with using military force to enforce martial law. Dyer identifies the single exit and deliberately positions his troops to block it, ensuring no one can leave the garden. Without offering any warning for the crowd to disperse, General Dyer cold-bloodedly orders his men to ready their weapons. The troops fired directly into the thickest parts of the crowd, continuing the barrage for 10 agonizing minutes. In the enclosed space, thousands of defenseless men, women, and children are killed or wounded. Dyer utilized absolute, inescapable violence to silence a political demand. This decision shattered the remaining trust between the colonial government and the people it claimed to protect. The massacre led to a profound nationwide rejection of the British honors that had once linked the Indian elite to the crown. The poet Rabindranath Tagore was the first to act, returning his British knighthood in protest of the killings. Mahatma Gandhi followed, returning the Kaiser-e-Hind medal he had earned for his previous public service to the empire. By handing back these titles, India's leaders signaled that the British Empire had irrevocably lost its moral legitimacy. The impact of the massacre lasted decades. On March 13, 1940, the timeline jumps thousands of miles away to Caxton Hall in London. There, an Indian revolutionary named Udham Singh assassinated Michael O'Dwyer, the official who had endorsed the massacre 21 years earlier. This act of retribution, coming 2 decades later, showed that the anger from the massacre remained a potent political driver far beyond the borders of Punjab. The tragedy at Jallianwala Bagh demonstrated that the promise of political reform could not survive the reality of military violence. In the years that followed, the goal of the independence movement shifted from adjusting the rules of British administration to removing it entirely.